What is up, everyone? Let's get this kicking off here. Okay. Turn this off. At least I have. Hey, Shadow Ops RC, what's up, man? Okay. Fix the camera here a little bit. Sorry, I was trying to get my GoPro working. Bought a new GoPro, and it's not doing what it's supposed to, unfortunately. And then I had a couple of things written down. That Molds RC, what's up, bro? A couple of things I wanted to talk about before we actually dive into the Savage repair. Okay, and it's about glow plugs. So a couple of days ago, I had a guy write on one of my videos, one of my break-in videos. He was talking about glow plugs, right? Now let me see what I wrote down. Can't remember. Okay, here we go. Right. So he was. So in my video, I was talking about using cold glow plugs for the bigger block motors because I use a higher percentage of nitro. I use 30%. And he said that cold, R5, R6 glow plugs are for your on-road engines. And the new GoPros do some weird stuff. Yeah, I'm not super happy with my GoPro. I went to a Basher event yesterday, and every single time I thought I was recording, I was actually turning the GoPro off, like turning stopping the recording. So I literally recorded everything that I didn't want to record, and recorded nothing of what I wanted to record. And thank God my buddy Jeff took a video. That's my T-Max doing some backflips. I'm grateful that he took a few videos at least, so I at least had something to show. But yeah, I'm not super happy with my GoPro right now. Still kind of trying to figure it out. I wish the app worked more seamlessly with YouTube, and hopefully it will in the future. But right now, like I was trying to get this live going, and it wasn't working. Buggies and Truggies, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. But anyway, so back to the glow plugs, right? So this guy was talking about the colder glow plugs. His name was Sam. Like I said, if you go back on the Axial break-in video that I have, you'll see in the comments what he's talking about, if you guys want to check it out. But he was talking about the colder glow plugs being for on-road / more of a wide open throttle running, and your medium hot plugs is better for bashing. And he started talking about the tune. He's like, if you think about it, a hotter glow plug will allow you to tune richer, and still, and if you think about it, the density of nitro fuel coming in, right? The hotter the spark, the denser that fuel can be for it to ignite. Of course, you have compression, in the equation, which always throws everything off. But it was really interesting to me, and I never actually thought of it that way. I never thought, as far as your plug, actually changing the way you could tune your motor. He also talked about how much bigger of a tuning window the medium or hot plugs provide. When I was learning nitro, now given I've only been doing nitro for about a year and a couple of months. Like, I'm a rookie. I'm the new guy on the block around here. I don't claim to be any type of pro or anything like that, but I do have a passion about RC. I've loved it since I was a child. I've always had RCs, and I've just kind of recently got into the nitro side of this hobby. But what? So my question to you guys is what percentage do you guys use nitro wise? And like let's say that the 28 is like your standard motor or whatever, because most of what I run is the .28s. Now, if you were running 30% in a .28, which plug would you choose to use? If you guys would just post in the comments, let me read it. I'm curious, and also like why did you choose that plug? Now I know that the temperature of the plug it's only about the actual timing of the ignition. Your piston hits top dead center, it's compressed, and then at that very second, boom, you want the explosion to get your power. Okay, now let me read some. Oh, Skylar, what's up, man? Glad you're here. Thank you for showing up, man. So Shadow Ops, so you use 20%, you have two 28s and two 21s. Okay, now what type of glow plug do you have in those? Are you using a medium or are you using a colder plug? So, like I said, when I was learning, doing lots of form scavenging, whatever, majority of what I read was to use the coldest plug possible. Right? Now, obviously, you can use a cold plug, regardless. But I from what I read, that so if you're getting that later ignition point, right, you're going to have lots of unused fuel coming out of your exhaust. Now, I don't have that. I get the oil, you hold your finger under the exhaust tip and you can see oil on your finger, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm not getting any like raw fuel pouring out unless I'm so rich that, like break-in settings, like, you know what I mean? Like then you have raw fuel dripping out of your exhaust. But I have never had an issue with using colder plugs. Okay, so he's saying a medium plug with 20% nitro. So, and I would agree with that, right? You got a little lower of a nitro content, so you need to adjust your ignition point forward. You got to advance your timing, right? Right. Okay, so Jason's saying 30. Now in your big blocks, Jason, what glow plug are you using? Are you using a colder? Are you using a medium? Or are you using a hot? I'm curious. Like I said, when this guy commented on my video, basically the tuning is where I'm getting at, right? So do you think that this guy's logic is correct, right? If you use a hotter plug, you can tune richer, which would give you a bigger tuning window with your needles. Right, yep, no, so you're right, yeah, weather, humidity has a lot to do with the tune. I completely understand that. But, okay, so the point that this Sam guy was trying to make, Sam Miller, like I said, so it's the axial big block break-in video. This motor right here is the picture, right? So if you watch this big block video and you look down in the comments, you'll see what this guy was talking about. So what I think he was saying is the density. You can run richer with a hotter plug, and which will increase your tuning window. It'll have a little more forgiveness in it. Basically what he was saying is that running a colder plug, you have to lean your motor out more to get it to run right, or to get the power out of it. And never used 30, so that's something I have not ran, so I don't know. Okay, but still, even 20%, right? With 20%, typically you would want to run a medium plug, at least from what I've learned 20 medium, maybe a medium hot plug. So I have checked out Bug 404. I've watched about every video that dude has ever put out. Great guy. Love Bug 404. He, not much of a people person, but he is awesome, right? Love his channel. But he never, so yes, he tells you which type of plug to use, and the differences, but he never, okay, so let me back up a little bit. Okay, so I broke in my Dynamite 19, right? 30% Bones Brew, 10% oil. I fired up the Dynamite 19. It came with an R3, so a hot plug, right? Small block motor, hot plug, sounds right? Sounds right. Okay, now I had this weird incident, and Skylar can back me up on this. Skylar Cook here in the comments, right? His Dynamite did the exact same thing. It had the hot plug. I think he was using 20%, but I was using 30. But we would, as soon as I fired it up, right, adjusted the needles, got it running, normal-ish, and without a heat gun, without nothing, the temperature was climbing. And I mean, we're talking, it was holding at 250, 260 at idle, right? Weird. Okay, now maybe not so weird because the pinch is tight. You got mechanical pinch, and you got lots of different things going on. It's real tight, right? So it kind of makes sense. But I've never seen a motor do this before, and it was both of the 19s that I broke in, right? So I stepped down a step in glow plug. It helped, but it didn't cure it. At idle, at fat settings, your temperature should drop. You should need to use the heat gun to keep heat into the motor, right? In theory, okay? I had to take 2 steps back. I have an R5. Well, I did until yesterday. I burned it out, and then now I'm at an R4. But in that beginning, those first 7-8 tanks on that Dynamite 19. Now with the cold plug, the R5, it was normal. I could adjust the tune, and I could literally watch the temperature change by how lean or how rich I was running. It was a normal experience, or what I would call an experience, right? But with that R3 in there, it didn't matter how I adjusted the needles, and the temperatures just went up and up and up. It was the weirdest damn thing I've ever seen. And you would think plug temperature would have nothing to do with that. And I honestly couldn't tell you if the plug temperature actually fixed my issue, or if it was just starting to break in, or if it was just some other phenomenon. But it happened twice on 2 different motors, on 2 different trucks, on 2 different days, different temperatures. It wasn't the same time, same day, same place. It was 2 different situations, and it happened twice. Let me just read a little bit here. So, and I agree, buggies and truggies, okay, kind of test and tune to see what works, right? Okay, but so the reason why we use colder plugs is so we don't have pre-fire or detonation, right? How do you know if you're detonating? I've never experienced a detonation unless that's what that Dynamite 19 was doing, and the temperature was climbing for no reason. And that's what my instinct was, is that maybe I'm experiencing detonation, and so that's why I went with a colder plug, and then the motor started to act normal. Like I said, it was the weirdest thing ever, dude. I'm telling you, it was weird. Some engines run hot. Yeah, I know that. Like most small blocks run hot, I've noticed. My Dynamite 19 with an extremely fat tune runs at 250, 260. And that's, I mean, it's rolling coal out the pipe. And yeah, so I have noticed that as well. Okay, Skylar. Okay, yeah. My Dynamite 19 I feel is tuned extremely well. It's not lifting the front tires off the ground, but it doesn't have that much fuel ran through it yet. It's still pretty new. I'm less than a half gallon, so I don't necessarily expect it to be at full power yet. But it is ripping. And okay, yeah, funny hinges to dial in. Yeah, I would agree with that as well. I have struggled ever so slightly with my Dynamite 19 to get it to tune in well. It's taken me quite a bit. It definitely hasn't been the easiest motor, unlike the bigger blocks that I run. Okay, but now that we got that out of the way, right? Because there's not, and I'm gonna do a video. I bought all the plugs. I am gonna try R6 to R3, right? And I'm gonna, go to factory settings on each plug and then dial them in. And I'm gonna record as much as I can, and I will report back any, variances or anything that I notice. I think it'll make for an interesting video, and I think it might be, semi-educational. Like I said, I was always told to use the coldest plug possible. The bigger the motor, the more the nitro, the colder you go. Smaller motor, even more nitro, colder you go. So it will be interesting. Okay. So let's adjust the camera here, and let's take a look at this Savage. Okay. Skylar, good point. Very, very good point. Yep, Skylar is right. So I did have, so the way, all right, well, I'd probably have to grab a T-Max to show you guys. But, so, imagine this is a T-Max, right? I have my fuel line right here below the easy start, and it comes up in between the exhaust and the block right here, right? I know that's probably hard for you guys to see, and I'm sorry. I'll try to get it a little closer. But, right? So, you're getting all of this heat coming in from the back right here. And then you got heat from the block. And I've tried putting one of those, I don't know what you call it, that fiberglass tubing that Traxxas has factory. I tried putting some of those there to help, but no matter what, right about right here, you would see air bubbles on my Dynamite 19. And then if you idled for a couple of seconds, obviously it would suck the air bubbles in, and then it would idle and act normal. Super weird. Thank you. So Buggies and Truggies, thank you. So I got this Savage at a yard sale. The lady's husband died, and she had no idea. Oh, sorry. She had no idea what to do with this thing. So I got this and a second roller. It's in pieces, but I got both trucks and a crawler and some other stuff for 125 bucks from her. So I paid about, I don't know, $45 for this Savage. It had a bad motor. Skylar Cook has the exhaust pipe for it. It's got a THS on there now. But yeah, it's metal spur. I chewed up the original clutch bell, had to put Robinson Racing in it, and added the motor saver, air filter, and this axial, and that's pretty much it. I do have two plastic shocks on it, one on each of these corners here, just because I was missing the metal ones, so I stole some off that one that's in pieces. This is also, yeah, Shadow Ops, yeah, awesome deal. I feel, so I bought the brand new Savage XL, the GT6. That thing was $750 shipped to my door. So paying about $45 for this was very, very welcome. So the issue that I would like to fix with you guys today, do you see something wrong here? Yeah. So those ramps, the backflip ramps in my earlier video, I sent this thing off of it. It went flying, and it hit, and I lost a dog bone. Now I do have a used one. I'm hoping it's the right size. I'm hoping that this is the right, that one that's in pieces is a little bit different than this one. But I'm hoping that it's the same model, or these are the same length. I'm not 100%. I don't really know Savages all that well. This is the first one that I've really messed with. My XL, I've only drove it around a couple of times, and that's it. I haven't done nothing with it. No videos, no nothing. I'd like to. I can't wait to run the XL. I was waiting for better weather. Just because, here in Utah, it's really soggy all the time here. It sucks. Utah sucks. But now that spring is here, I'm hoping to start getting my other trucks out a little bit more. And, yeah, let's get that thing running. I also, before we, dive into this, so this truck is full on Integy, right? Integy arms, bulkheads, towers, and I hate it. I think that I'm going to order plastic and, maybe keep the bulkhead or, diff braces, whatever these things are called up here. Probably keep these aluminum, but I definitely want to go back to a plastic tower and plastic arms. I want this thing to be able to flex. This metal is no bueno, in my opinion. Which is kind of crazy that I even lost a dog bone to begin with. But this truck, it squeaks really bad. When you're driving it, you can hear it squeaking. The brakes are just absolutely horrible. Shadow Ops, so I'm in Tooele. Just a little bit west of Salt Lake City, about 30 minutes or so. But yeah. And then Integy makes good stuff, but all overpriced. Yeah, I'm a plastic fan. Maybe I'll go to RPM for this stuff. If they still make it, I'm not sure. I haven't really, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about the Savages. I'm a new Savage owner, new Savage guy. Don't know a whole lot. JP's RC, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. Okay. So anyway, I have a question for you guys. Hopefully some of you guys have Savages. Okay, so these little tie rods. Oh, let's get you in the camera. Okay. So these tie rod ends right here. This one keeps popping off, and it's like making my tire sit inward. I don't know, why it's happening, but it's like every time I bash this thing, it pops off and goes funky. Do you guys know of a fix for that? Or do I have to just keep replacing the ends? I'd like to fix it permanently. That'd be nice. But I'm not sure which parts I should order. If you guys know, please let me know. The end is worn out. The ball cup could be worn out. Yeah. See, exactly. So it keeps popping out off the ball. It doesn't like fly out or anything. It stays in place. Is there? So who makes metal ones? Is it an actual HPI part, or is it you know, Integy? Who makes it? Because I would love to buy some. I would, yeah, that would be great to fix that permanently for sure. Yeah, very sloppy. Yes, they are very, very sloppy. One thing also that I noticed about Savage is the Phillips head. Like, what's up with that? Dude, that's trash. Like, HPI being a leader in the RC industry and it's all Phillips. Like, you know, like that's odd to me. You know, I'm not sure if that's kind of how it's always been or what. But while I have this out, do want to check these bearings. So I don't think it's that one that's squeaking. Let's slide this dog bone in here. I'm really hoping that this is the right size. And it looks like it is. All right, quick, easy. All right. The older models. So, okay, so I have another question. So this came factory with the HPI Purple Head 25, I believe it was. I'm pretty sure it was a 25. Does that mean that this is the Savage 25? So the other Savage that I have has side plates like this, right? Now this is what I'm used to seeing, or what I have noticed. Like, so, you know, Savage 21, Savage 25, they're like this. But if you actually look at these, for one, they're super thin. You know, they are not as thick as this. I believe this is like the 2.5 millimeter. These are like 2 millimeter. They are ridiculously thin. Horrible, in my opinion. So you think it's the HPI 25? So you think it's a 25 by the roll bar? See, now I was wondering about that too. So this is, I've never seen this before, this style of roll bar. I was thinking that was aftermarket. So the guy that owned this Savage before me, I mean, he dumped some money into this thing. Like, it's not, you know, I mean, obviously it's all Integy, but it's still, you know, I mean, he dumped some money into this thing. It's not super ghetto. I haven't had a single issue with the transmission or anything like that. This truck, I you know, changed out the motor and, you know, put the axial. So this is the .28, the Spec 2. Super awesome motor. It runs a little hot. It does have the 3 needle carb. It does run a little bit hot, even with this THS pipe. But it has absolutely amazing power. I mean, this truck straight rips, dude. Like, it's unreal. But oh, here, let me pull out that other piece. Okay. So this is the roll bar that I'm used to seeing as well, right? Real thick, ghetto, you know. This is what I'm used to seeing. I know for a fact that this is the Savage 21 style roll bar. So I'm pretty sure, you know, that this is the Savage 21. Like I said, one day I might put it back together, but honestly, I think I'm going to just keep it for parts for this guy. You know, it is what it is. I've got the new Savage XL. So if I ever, you know, I'd rather just keep that in pieces, to be honest. I know I'm lame. I probably should build it back up, but put a dynamite. It's about to get a big red. Okay. So speaking about Big Red, all right? So Skylar Cook, he bought a Savage X 4.6, which had a 25 in it, which was kind of weird, but it's definitely the X model. He got it super cheap. on our local group, KSL. And he ended up putting a big red in his, and it is a monster of a motor. I am jealous and I want one. I'm right with you. If you put a big red on anything, I am almost positive that it'll straight rip. I mean, amazing. So, to further kind of dive into this truck, right? So, we know that we have the 2-speed judging by the gearbox. I haven't pulled the top off this or anything like that. Oh, sorry. I was reading a comment. Right. So we don't have the 3-speed, which I wish I did. And then I did put a rechargeable pack in here. It's got the Traxxas hump pack with the Traxxas wiring harness. Works great. But I haven't torn this truck down at all to see like if it's got those upgraded diffs in here or anything like that. I did notice it does have the dual metal, real thin brake discs over the fiber ones, which I thought that was awesome. Yeah, it's a good truck. It's been good so far for kind of my first beater Savage. I would really like to figure out which bearing. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to bump. I really would like to figure out which bearing is squeaking, or which side it is. Not sure if you guys can hear it, but I mean, it just sounds horrible. Not even really sure if it's a wheel bearing or not. It could be, somewhere else. I think that, no, it's still on there. But this has been a really good first Savage. Put the kill switch in it right here. That's been a great addition. Kind of finicky. So when I launched it off the ramp, for some reason, even though the light was on, it closed the solenoid and shut my motor off. So kind of weird. I have had one hiccup with the kill switch, but for the most part, it has worked flawlessly. So if you guys are interested in a kill switch, definitely it's the Killer RC Bumblebee Nitro kill switch. Amazing. I did have to go to a hardened front diff gear with me going to the Dynamite 28. Now, are you talking about the 3-port pull start, generic Dynamite 28? That's for sure a 25. Oh, so this is for sure a Savage 25. That is good to know. Thank you, JP. Right. Okay. So we got the axle done. Thank God it fit. Right. Definitely need to run this some more. Let me go grab my T-Max. Let me show you the damage on my T-Max. All right. Okay. So, there we are, the bread and butter. Yeah, so JP, on that Savage, so one side is like reverse threaded, then the other side, on is off is on, or whatever. Like, it's weird. Didn't realize that Savages were reverse threaded on the one side, and I'm not sure why they are. It looks ridiculous, or it is ridiculous. Run newer wheels. Are you talking about the hexes, Shadow Ops? Did you run? Are you talking about 17 mil hexes on the Savage? Oh, so you're talking about the reverse threading is specific to the 25? So that's interesting. So I have heard that you can order or buy the set of the opposite axles and then just put them on that side so they're all the same. Which I have got a used set of axles to do that. I just haven't done it. Okay, but let's get back to the T-Max, right? Okay, so you see the left and right is, so that won't work, me ordering the other side and just putting two of the same, so all four are the same direction. That won't work. I didn't realize. Right, yeah, see the 4.6, yeah, the wheel nuts are all the same. Right, that's how Skylar Savage is too. And that's how the XL is with the 17 mil hubs. But yeah, so that's just an odd man Savage. I swear it's yeah, it is what it is. But so here's what I'm talking about on the fuel line, right? I'm not sure if I can zoom. Okay, so I can zoom, right? Okay, so you can see that I have the fuel line down below the easy start, and it just comes up here right against the exhaust. Now Skylar has his on the outside right here like that. And I'm wondering if that isn't the better way to go. I'm not sure if you guys run T-Maxes as well. If you guys have this issue. I know from the factory, it kind of runs like right up in here. The fuel line just kind of goes straight down. There's a little loop right here with the clip, but it just runs straight down in there next to the easy start. Which I don't know. I might have to try that. I might have to try routing it a little different and see. But yeah, I get some gnarly air bubbles forming right here, and it just makes it idle weird, for a second. But when you're actually on throttle and the truck is moving, it doesn't seem to affect it whatsoever. It's just when you return to idle and kind of sit there for a second, then it sucks the air bubbles in and it idles really weird. But believe it or not, right? So this truck was getting, I don't know, 20, 25 feet in the air, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little more. And the only thing that I have noticed that broke was this bumper right here, like this screw, right? And it's busted off in there good. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to get the rest of the screw out. Now I haven't looked over the truck completely yet. So the actual gray plate snapped off a couple of weeks ago, which is okay. I don't really care about that just because I got the RPM skids on here. Now this truck, I built it to beat it, and beating it I shall, right? Full RPM, at least as much as I could find. I kept the plastic drive shafts on this thing. So I bought the 54 or 45, the metal drive shafts that Traxxas makes. And with the RPM arms, it's like they are longer than, the RPMs are slightly longer, even regardless of screwing in these two balls. I could completely sink those balls, and it was still just a little bit longer than the factory arms, and it actually ruined one of the ends of the dog bone there in the drive cup. So on my big block T-Max, it's got the metal drive shafts, and then this one I've got the RPM with the plastic shafts, and you can actually see that it's slightly stretched right here. So I wish Traxxas made a slightly longer of a drive shaft, but I don't think they're going to invest any more into the T-Max. It is what it is. Nitro is dying. Hopefully we can bring it back. Wally's RC World, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. Love to see you here. So I was actually talking to Wally earlier about his Savage and getting the gears off. He was struggling with it a little bit, but he finally got it. I don't know if you guys watch his channel. Great channel. I love what he's doing. He's working hard on that Savage, lights, LEDs, on-off switches, dude. It's sick. So if you guys haven't checked out Wally's RC World, please check it out. It's awesome. JP's an elk? Like, are you talking about like an actual elk? Like a fucking animal, a wild animal? That's a little nuts. Yeah, that's good. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh yeah, so I haven't actually antagonized any wildlife with my RCs yet. Not that I really plan to, but that's hilarious, dude. That's funny, man. I don't blame him, honestly. Okay. So basically this truck is stock tranny, RPM plastics, Dynamite 19. So I did try the THS exhaust on this thing. That's why this hole is drilled here. Got a big hole. The THS did not run super well with the Dynamite 19. That's funny. Yeah. That's hilarious, dude. That's super funny. Yeah, so this Dynamite 19 did not like the THS exhaust that much. Maybe that was just because it was right when the motor was new. Now that it's had a little bit of fuel through it, might maybe be different. I might have to throw it back on there and try it. But I did notice that the drilled stinger was the way to go. The resonator pipe with the drilled stinger on the 19, it rips. This is definitely a really good setup. Yeah, it's working and running well. One thing, I've only made one video on these two, and that's these outer wears. I don't know if you guys, I don't know what kind of area you guys run in. They like a Serio pipe. I would like to find one of those. I have a Novarossi pipe for the T-Max. Brand new, haven't used it. I would be interested to also find that Serio. It looks nice. SLC Nitro, thanks for joining in. How we doing, bud? But anyway, so I don't know if you guys run an outerwear. Here in Utah, we have this really fine clay dirt pretty much everywhere. And if you don't run some type of air filter cover, you will be changing your air filter with every tank of gas, literally, if not sooner. It is that bad. Especially if you leave any type of oil on the air filter. It wrecks them. So I've opted, so my other trucks run the motor saver, outer saver, or just the motor saver actual, whole air filter assembly. I really like them. Anytime I remove my air filters, they are super clean. Minimal dirt. Like even this one, if we were to pop this off real quick, which I tied it super good the other day, like a dumbass. I shouldn't have. But anyway, yeah, most of my, or all of my trucks run an outer saver. And I, just as an extra layer of protection, I would absolutely recommend it. They're really cheap. I think they're, somewhere along the lines about $20, and they're worth every penny. Skylar, thank you. Yes. Yeah, get those throttle linkages purchased for your Savage, and we will get that Big Red running absolutely like a top, dude. But yeah, thank you. Happy birthday. Thanks for tuning in. You have a good night with your lady, and we will see you soon. But yeah, so I highly recommend the outer saver. If you don't have one, buy one. It's a cheap insurance. It absolutely doubles the life of your air filter, and it's just You know, like I said, I do a lot of dirt bashing and grass and just I just worry about it. You know, we spend a lot of money on these trucks and it's stupid to ruin a motor over a couple of dollars, you know, a $10, $20 little cover. You know, it's ridiculous that people just trash them. Yeah. Yeah, so there was this guy Victor on a Savage page on Facebook. I actually ordered some axles from him. They're used but in good condition. And it was yeah, I just haven't installed them yet. Honestly, I've beat that Savage pretty hard now, and that's the first thing. I lost a dog bone, and that's pretty much the first thing that's went wrong. These towers, here, I'll just grab it again so we can check it out. So these towers, I know that I'm not sure if it's the front or the back. It looks like the back. If you get, let me adjust the camera here. Right? I'm not sure if this is normal. It looks bent to me. But I do struggle getting the body on. You know, I kind of have to bend these out a little bit to get the body on it. But it does, you know, I mean, it still works. It still runs. But like I said, I'm thinking about switching this all to plastic. I think Traxxas will keep pumping out nitros as long as guys keep buying them. Yes. Yes, please keep buying nitros. Buy more nitros. I have spent, not bent. I was Wally's. So I'm talking about this shock tower, right? So when I put the body on, the holes, and I ordered a factory body. So the holes are close, if not perfect, right? But just like if I put the front on first, then I have to bend out these back ones to get it, you know, to get them in the hole. Looks like a skate park victim. Yeah. Like I said, I don't know the history on this RC. I got it used, put a new motor on it, and I've drove it quite a bit now, but not a whole lot. It's been a great truck though. I've really enjoyed it. You know, for a used beater Savage. But you know what I mean? You look at this shock tower, nice and straight-ish. This one, not so much. I'm telling you, it looks bent to me. And that's why I kind of just want to go back to plastic with this truck. You know, I don't really want to beat on my Savage XL too much. I would rather keep destroying this thing. Yeah, it's into G. I don't have a doubt that I couldn't bend it back. But I'm just not really a fan of the aluminum, man. Like, yeah, it looks good. You know, but you know, I like to hurt my RCs. I'm not gonna lie. I run them hard, but I do take good care of them. Except for this one. Like I said, I haven't gone through it yet. I know it's got some squeaking bearings and whatnot. And one day, but I'm just not too familiar with this platform. I've got that one in a bag, and I am absolutely afraid to put it back together. Well, I'm not afraid. I mean, I'm not afraid of it. But I just, you know, I don't know. The T-Max is so much easier to work on than the Savage. You know, the way that these, you know, the bulkheads and just everything, like, it's intense. The only thing good about the Savage is the diffs are easier to service than the T-Max. You know, easy to get to. But I do know the inside of the transmission really well. I have ripped my XL transmission apart, fixed it, you know, shimmed it up. I actually ordered this gear that allows you to adjust it. Oh, sorry, hang on. JP, yeah, I'm with you, brother. No aluminum shock towers. You know, same with the arms, though. You know, I am not a fan of aluminum arms even. You know, like I said, they look good. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, don't get me wrong. It looks, I mean, obviously it's dirty, but it still looks really good. You know, it's definitely a showpiece for sure. But I'm just, yeah, I would rather have the flex, and you know, arms are cheap to replace. You got metal arms, then you're replacing bulkheads and braces and this and that. Like it's just way more problems than it's worth. Um, let me show you guys my XL. While I have you here, it's an amazing RC. Like I said, it's brand new. I haven't messed with it a whole lot. But I've got some really cool upgrades on it that aren't, I guarantee you not very many people with the GT6 have my upgrades. All right. Bam. Okay. So I know it. Let's read a comment. Joseph. Let's hang on. It disappeared. I can make it an XL, SML. They sell a conversion kit that comes with everything. Yeah, so I would never degrade a Nitro by converting it. If I wanted an electric, I'd just buy the electric version. Guys that convert Nitros, I do not agree with that. I know it's cheaper than buying a new kit, but it's not. It's just more problems than it's worth, in my opinion. So I know that I've got the flux body on here, and the reason is I've reinforced this body. I'm sure you guys know JCL Celestian or something like that on Facebook. He's in just about every group. I ordered this from him on eBay, swapped it out a little bit, but I reinforced it. So I took off the orange and black body. Just because if they were still available or more were available, I would run the orange body, but they're not. You can't find them. So this is my pride and joy. I don't really have a super big table. I'm sorry, guys. It's kind of hard for me to do this. I wish my GoPro was working. Be a lot easier. But this has got the innovative RC LST conversion. Now, this kit is extremely hard to find. They make it still. I've seen the Innovative RC's website still up, still available. Oh, okay, Jose. Oh, okay. So it's one kit that does everything. All right. I understand that. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. And, so the XL is fun. The 3-speed trans, like I said, I've put the RC for me adjustment gear in here, so I don't have to tear my tranny apart to adjust the 2-speed or the 3-speed. It's all from the outside. But I do, like I said, I built a set of LST shocks. I got the innovative RC kit on here. I can't wait to bash this truck. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. Even put a flexi cap on here, just to protect the head, even though it's got the roll cage. At one point, I did put the THS system on here. And the THS pipe, yeah. So the THS pipe did not run super awesome with this motor. I'm not sure why. Yes, LST wheels. Yep, you are correct. Yeah, I love it. It is an absolute monster. It's got a massive profile. It handles really well, especially at the higher speeds. I actually have not even flipped this truck yet. I'm on tank like 7 or 8, maybe 9, maybe 10, whatever. Not very much fuel through this motor yet. See what I did there with the fuel filter? I thought it was a good idea. It looks sick in my opinion. But anyway, so the THS pipe did not run super amazing. I did try a longer 75 millimeter truggy header, and it was better. But to be honest, this this pipe runs absolutely amazing with this .36. It runs hard, like real good. Now let me see what you guys are saying. Looks cool. Thank you. Yeah, Wally's. Put a lot of money into the truck. So when I got my LST, I had the upgrade kit, came with these wheels and a bunch of other stuff. I bought the rubber off eBay, and then to get to the 20 millimeter on Facebook, I'd have to go get my other box, but there is a guy that makes these 3D printed hex adapters. So it's a 17 on the inside and it's a 20 millimeter on the outside. And that's how I have these mounted. I left this, it's got the 20 millimeter hub tires is what I mean. And it's still got the 17 millimeter original different lengths pipes. Yeah. So like I said, I tried the THS. It's not that it was bad, because it definitely wasn't bad. It was loud. But I've just noticed that the motor just runs just slightly better with this pipe. You know, I really haven't had to mess with it a whole lot running this pipe, where the THS, it was kind of finicky, to be honest. Now it could have been, like I said, because it was breaking in and still new. So it could have been that for sure. There's always that possibility. Running the motor saver on it, once again, like I said, I am a fan of these things. Just because of the dirt we run here in Utah, the clay, it's bad, it's horrible, it is not good. So motor saver is an absolute must. Now, I have tried to talk some guys into this, right? Yeah, I didn't fire it up, I know. No Verasi pipe. Oh, I bet. Yeah, no, a Novarasi pipe on something like this, I bet would be insane. Yeah, ERCM, that's right. Hell yeah. Now, one day I will, get a hold of Robin and get a ERCM ordered. I've never had one, but I would really like to try one. So right here, we got the titanium brake disc. Now, it's made by GPM, and I've tried to tell a few people about this, and I've had a lot of kind of a negative response to it. Metal on metal. Well, that's how all of them are. Any Savage I've seen, or most buggies, everything. It doesn't need to necessarily have a brake pad in there in order for this to work. This works amazing. I did have to shim it a little bit. So I bought two originally, and it would hit the clutch bell. So I had to just do the one and then kind of, shim it out here, which it works. Like I said, no issues. This truck stops on a dime. It's great. Like I said, you can see how new this truck is. It's got zero wear on it. I love it. I'm waiting, get into these drive cups here. Absolute zero wear. And you can see that. A couple of little divots. Like I said, I've ran it, but it's still just brand spanking new. Still waiting for, a good day. Yeah, so you're right. The brake rotor, it is thick, right? But it works extremely well. They're like $18. I found them on Amazon. If you look at the other Savage, right? Look at this other Savage. It's got these little chintzy ass ones. I just, not that it's good or bad. Because this truck stops on a dime too. You can make this thing do a standing front flip if you just straight slam the brake. But I feel, as far as the Savage XL, the fiber brakes that they come with are garbage. Yeah, GPM, amazing company, great stuff. And like I said, that's titanium. That's not just aluminum or whatever. Yeah, I like their stuff too. I do want to put one of those GPM metal servo, whatever that is, the little switcher dillier there, little 90 degree. Just because I have noticed that it flexes ever so slightly. I've fixed all of these pivot points on all my T-Maxes, and I'll get to my Savages eventually. Fun fact for you guys. I don't know if you guys know this or not, right? So you got your tank, right? And you got this little hole here, right? You spill, and there's a little, track here that leads it to here. If you actually run a piece of fuel tubing, then it'll drip straight out the bottom instead of on your motor plate. I've never really seen anybody do that, but the LST has a similar, and it just runs right off the side of the chassis. But yeah, I did that to both my Savages. That's why you see that hose. Not that I really spill fuel on them, but still, just in case. So let's see what you guys are saying real quick. Now you're referring to the Bug 404 when you say Luke, right? I believe his name is Luke. And yeah, he's got a 6 Savage, man. It's gonna be legit for sure. Okay. Let's see here. So Wally, let me ask you something real quick, okay? So I had this guy comment the other day on my channel, and he was talking about glow plugs and that the bashers, cold. Okay, so let me rephrase this. So the cold plug would be for your on-road, wide open throttle running, is what he said, right? And he said that the medium to medium hot glow plug would be more for a basher. Now, when I was learning Nitro, like I said, I'm a new guy. I've only been in Nitro for a little over a year now. When I was learning Nitro, I was told to always use the coldest plug possible. Now, I haven't had any issues with my motor's tuning or anything like that. But this guy goes on about how even though you run a higher nitro percentage, right? Supposedly, the higher the nitro, the colder the plug, the bigger the motor, the colder the plug. But he was saying that even with the big block motor, right, the cold plug or the hotter plug would allow you to have a wider tuning window and also allow you to run your motor richer then if you were to run a cold plug, you would have to run leaner to get similar performance. So you use a hot plug. Now, JP, are you talking, let's say that it's a 28, big block, just 28, whatever, doesn't matter, don't care. Now, are you using 20 or 30% nitro? Sorry, I'm just waiting for your comment there. Using 20 or 30%, JP? I'm curious. Because I wrote down this whole little spiel. This guy, he really got my mind going, okay, so you use 20% hot plug on a 0.28, right? So basically, the reason why I've always ran a colder plug is because I was afraid of detonation. See, now Wally's, I use the same 30-10, right? Now, in this particular model, I am running I believe it came with an R5. If I'm not mistaken, it comes with a cold plug. So 30 in your drag style. Okay, yeah, the JATO's an on-road, faster, whatever. But always hot. Okay. So question. You're using a hot plug in a 0.28. How forgiving is your tuning window. So, right, yeah, I'm not an expert either. Yeah, I agree. I would rather have the more power. They say that 30% is more powerful than 20%. I'm all about that. Like that's where I'm at. But anyway, so like I said, to kind of elaborate on what the guy was saying, the guy was talking about, right? If you use a hotter plug, you can have more of a denser mixture coming into your motor, right? So that would be a richer tune versus if you were using a colder plug, you would need to lean the mixture ever so slightly to get that same style of explosion. Okay, so you do agree with this guy. So you believe that a cold plug is a narrower tuning window. See, now that's exactly what I was wondering. Okay, so an OS8 is a medium hot. Cold in a LRP is the worst. Okay. So maybe so I don't know. Like it gave me an idea for a window, and that's mainly what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I wanted to show you guys my RCs or whatever, but I really, I was curious. Instead of waiting for replies and all that, I really wanted to kind of dive in and see what people are running. So I'm gonna try it, and I'm gonna make a video on it. Right? I've always ran cold plugs. I know how to tune with a cold plug. So I'm going to buy some warmer plugs. Well, I mean, I have them or whatever. I've got a few of the LRPs, got a few of the dynamite plugs. I don't know what I got. But I'm curious to see. So yeah, so here's my little bag of plugs. I got a bunch of them. Plus all the ones that I have opened. But yeah, so that says medium cold for 5 to 20% nitro. That's an R6, so super cold. R5 cold. Another R5 cold. And that's a number 3, so that's a hot. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to try it, right? Now I have noticed that my tuning window it's kind of hard to dial in with the cold plug. Now I never thought that was plug related. I just thought that that's kind of just how nitros were. You're either on or you're off. You're either running way too hot or you're not. Which I don't worry about temperature too much. I'm kind of a guy that I richen up my motor. When I first fire it up, I let it run for a minute. And then I start running it and I richen it up until it runs like shit. And then I start leaning it out until I get right there at that maximum power. And then I go back, I just richen it ever so slightly. And then I just run the brakes off of it. Don't give a shit what temperature it's running at. And, I haven't had any problems. My motors start every time. I don't always after run. Like this truck's got after run in it because I haven't been running it. But I've always, had good luck. The only time I really struggled is when I didn't understand what lean and what rich was, and that was with my Traxxas 3.3. Hang on, let me read that comment. LRP has a tiny window already and the cold makes it smaller. Interesting. So I don't own any LRP motors. So I've got a few forces. I've got this force. I've got my big block T-Max force. Joseph. Right, I saw that. So I sorry to kind of change subjects real quick. I saw that 24 millimeter conversion. Very interested in that Romaine guy on Facebook. Very interesting. If the tires weren't so expensive, I would have already done it. Yeah, and I was thinking that too, Wally. The 32 4.1. I've seen that they put out a new back plate, and then you can also get a roto start for it. And so that is more than likely what's going to end up in here. Oh, damn. So that big block Revo you got is that motor. Is it the 4.0 or the 4.1? I saw your video on Facebook the other day, dude. That thing rips. Like that's nuts. I'll show you guys my big block. Hang on, I'll be right back. So I know you guys have seen it on Facebook if you guys are on the groups at all. Right? So here's my... Oh, Pico 26. So I heard that Max 26 is one hell of a motor. Yeah. Yeah, Rotostar. Yeah, I agree. So I put the Tiger drive on this motor. So what this is, I also have a tear apart video of this motor, right? So this is your Force 28R. It's a mid block. I mean, look, the T-Max exhaust fits right in here, dude. It is not your standard big block. It is the, I guess you can consider it a mid block. It's kind of like the OS 21. Now this I run an R4 in, and it runs like a champ, dude. And this thing, you know, ripping wheelies and standing, well, not necessarily a standing backflip, but pretty damn close. Runs at 200 degrees. This motor does not run hot at all. I did break it in the winter, so I'm not sure if maybe I screwed it up. I don't think so, just by the way it runs. This is my first big block I ever broke in. And yeah, it's insane. Now that I've got the GoPro, I'm gonna, you know, hook it up to the truck or whatever and you know, do some videos with it and show you guys. But this truck with the Terrapins, it's got Robinson Racing gears, THS pipe, it rips hard. Like, I can't even begin to tell you guys how hard this thing rips. This is definitely my beater T-Max. So I did get, I know it's kind of hard to see. My light is right above me, but I put the steel center shafts. It's got the Traxxas, you know, drive lines here. But like I said, I tried to put the RPM arms on here, and it would not work with these center or the steel drive lines. They were too short. It ripped out of the cup and completely screwed a whole drive line up. So I went back to the stock arms, and this truck is great. The only real damage I've ever done to it, I had to put aluminum shock caps on the rear here, just because of the way, you know, it lands. Like, it flies great in the air, but when it hits it, yeah. I mean, this thing just kind of cartwheels for days. But it's a great truck. Absolutely love this thing. So we're at an hour and almost 15 minutes, guys. I think we're going to cut it here. That carb is awesome on a low C. It's Mad Max. Yes, it is. This truck rips. So SLC Nitro has had the privilege of driving this truck, and he is a fan. It wheelies on command. It's nuts. Now I am running just a hot racing clutch, and then, you know, I put that metal pivot point. You know, it works great. I don't know how well you guys can see that. I know my camera kind of sucks. But yeah, a little metal pivot point. That's a GPM part right there too. Amazing. It eliminates the servo flex. Let's see where I was going at. Oh, and in my first live stream, I talked about this carb. Right? So this is the Force 2113M, right? This will fit a Traxxas motor. and it is about $30 cheaper than your OS 11K, and it has a bigger Venturi than the OS 11K. Wally's World, yes. You are so welcome, dude. I know when I was explaining to you about that, the screw on the gear and how there was a screw underneath it. I'm sorry I didn't explain it better for you, but I didn't really, know how to explain it. But I'm so glad that you got that apart, dude. Now you can fix your Savage and let it absolutely rip. But yeah, so let me just show you real quick. Because a lot of people, I've tried to tell, all of you guys are on the Nitro Gang Facebook, right? And I've tried to tell people about this carb, and I've pissed quite a few people off because they're ordering the wrong carb. They're not paying attention to me. So let me show you guys, like, straight up, legit, which carb. Let me get rid of that real quick. Hang on. Okay. It's this right here, right? It's the first thing, because I look at it all the time because I love it, right? This is the carb you have to order. 28 max for Force Engine. CM2113M. Right? Yeah, I would modify that second gear. It is stupid that you have to tear that transmission apart to change the shift point. That's ridiculous. But anyway, this carb right here on a Traxxas 3.3 will rip. Now, like I said, it's in Canadian or European or whatever the hell. Like I said, it's a little bit cheaper than the OS 11K. It's the exact carb that's right here. I have put a Traxxas carb on this motor, so I know that this carb will fit in a Traxxas motor. I put the 3.3 carb in here. The first carb I had on here, I had it turned sideways or whatever, and because it's a composite carb, I actually cracked the body. So I had to get a complete carb to fix this. But in that meantime, I put a Traxxas carb on here, and it ran, great. It was fine. But the Venturi on this pipe, or on this carb, is massive compared to the Traxxas. So if you throw this on a Traxxas, this carb will get that motor absolutely ripping. I guarantee it. Like, it'd be insane. SLC Nitro, like I said, we are going to try it on your Revo here shortly, dude. I swear, man. As soon as I get back from my vacation and I can start spending money on RC again, I'm going to order the carb, and we are going to try it. Dude, I swear. But anyway, I'd like to, to thank all of you guys for tuning in. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. I definitely appreciate it. The guidance on the glow plugs. I am going to be doing a video on that. I'm going to test and tune and be as absolutely thorough as I can, to hopefully help somebody else in the future. Because it's up to us to help the new guys, man. If people don't like Nitro, it's because they're not being taught properly. Because Nitro is just as easy as electric if you do it right. But yeah, so, once again, thanks for tuning in, guys. It means a lot. And, think upon what we discussed. And if there's anything that you can add or, help me with in the future, I would love that. Definitely tune into the Facebook page. JP, the availability. So there are several ads on that carb on eBay. That particular ad had 4 left. But there is tons, dude. But none of them are in America. All of those carbs are overseas. Which is why, what makes them expensive. Unfortunately, they would be a lot cheaper if we had them here in the States. But they are amazing. And it would be, like I said, I'm going to definitely put a video out on it when I get a hold of one, and it's going to be awesome. So if you guys ever want to try it, I absolutely recommend it. I guarantee that it will fit. You will not have a problem as long as you order that one that I showed you. There are several force carbs that look similar, but they are not the same. The only one that will fit is the 28 Max. That's the only one made by Force that will fit the Traxxas motor. But yeah, so last time, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Join me on Facebook if you guys haven't already. Nitro RC Life. Definitely come and add yourself to my group. I would love, any comments or feedback or, ideas for movie or videos or live streams. That's always welcomed. And let's keep growing this hobby. The better we, like I said, the more informed the new guy is, the better, this hobby will be. Hopefully we can bring Nitro, back to its glory days. I wasn't there during that, and I'm sure it was amazing, and I hope one day we can, have that same experience again. Hobby shops full of nitros, hobby shops full of electrics, and, availability is easy. And yeah, I mean, that's the goal. We all are aiming for that goal. So let's keep Nitro alive. And I will see you guys in the next video or next live stream. Thank you. Yeah, for sure. But see, how do I end this thing? Uh-oh. Okay, thanks guys. See you later.